with many of the tariffs so high that it would basically bring trade between the tariffed country and the United States to an end. So when Mr. Trump says, I'm going to hit China with a tariff, he is lying. Imposing tariffs may feel good, may work a nice story under the slogan America First, but it is producing consequences that make the United States weaker.
Richard Wolff just exposed the economic collapse timeline, and it's closer than anyone dares admit. The world's richest man hoards $400 billion while ordinary workers get fired for efficiency. Every coffee, car, and piece of clothing you buy is about to cost significantly more thanks to tariffs.
What happens in every declining empire, all that they accumulated during the rise of the empire, they are in the best position to hold on to. So that even though the empire is going down, they hold on to their extraordinary wealth.
Let me paint you the real picture here. Every empire in human history, the Greeks, Romans, Persians, they all followed the same predictable arc: rise, peak, decline, fall. The United States has been running a global empire for roughly a century, and for decades that meant good times for many Americans. Jobs got better, incomes rose, living standards improved. But here's where things get interesting. When empires peak and start their inevitable slide downward, everything changes. The 700 military bases we've scattered across the globe, they're becoming liabilities we can't afford. The US dollar as the global reserve currency, countries are actively building alternatives every single day.
The military prowess of the United States is less and less. The wars in Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, now Ukraine, are not being won, they're being lost.
Wars tell the real story of imperial decline. We're not winning anymore. We're hemorrhaging resources and credibility in conflicts that drag on for decades without clear victories. This isn't some abstract geopolitical theory. This is the measurable reality of American power in free fall. Now here's where Wolff's analysis becomes absolutely crucial. When an empire starts declining, the people at the top, the ultra-wealthy, the politically connected, they're in the perfect position to protect their wealth. But guess who gets thrown under the bus? Everyone else. Think I'm being dramatic. Look at what's happening with tariffs, because this is where the con job becomes absolutely transparent.
It taxes us as individuals, and it also taxes enterprises. It taxes our income, it taxes their profits.
Here's how tariffs actually work, and pay attention because this might be the most important economics lesson you'll ever get. When politicians tell you they're going to hit China with tariffs, they're either economically illiterate or deliberately lying. I'm betting on the latter.
We, the American government, cannot tax the people of another country, no more than the Chinese government taxes us. That's not how it works or ever has. The American government can only tax Americans.
A tariff is simply a tax on imports. When Walmart brings in products from China to sell in their stores, they pay that tariff tax to the US government, not China, not the Chinese government. American companies pay American taxes to Washington, D.C. We literally cannot tax citizens of other countries. That's not how sovereignty works.
So the vast majority of all tariff taxes are paid by Americans to Washington, D.C.
What happens next is predictable economic physics. That American company that just got hit with a 50% tariff on a $10,000 piece of equipment now faces a brutal choice: absorb the extra $5,000 cost and hurt their profits, or pass it along to consumers through higher prices. Guess which option they choose.
So no more let's talk lying about tariffs being things we do to punish another country.
Your morning coffee, the sugar you put in it, The avocado on your toast, the car you need to get to work, everything imported is about to get significantly more expensive. Inflation is coming back with a vengeance, and it's going to hit middle and working class families hardest because wages never keep up with rising prices.
Any American who wants to buy it will have to pay $15,000 instead of $10,000 because of the tariff. But what I've just told you means that tariffs raise prices.
But here's where the tariff scam gets even more diabolical. Companies don't just raise prices once, they use tariffs as cover to jack up prices across their entire product lines. Why? Because consumers can't tell which price increases are tariff related and which are pure profit grabbing.
And Mr. Trump not only created them and threw them at countries, but he threw them helter-skelter. They went up one day, down the next day.
Nobody has ever done what's happening now, hitting the entire world with tariffs simultaneously, with rates so high they basically end trade relationships overnight. These aren't strategic trade policies, they're economic weapons thrown around randomly with no coherent plan. Tariffs go up one day, down the next. They're suspended for 12 days, then 20 days, then 90 days. Companies can't make investment decisions when the rules change faster than they can track. Even if a business wanted to move production from China to America, why would they? The tariff situation is so unstable that any investment decision is essentially gambling.
Bringing those jobs back that he talked about, lying. He hadn't brought them back. And he hadn't brought them back for a very good reason. There's no way for them to decide, even if they pulled up stakes from the factory they have in China or the factory they have in Brazil, why bring it to the United States?
That's why you haven't seen the massive movement of jobs back to America that was promised. It's impossible to plan when the person making trade policy treats it like a reality TV show. When American tariffs make foreign products more expensive here, those foreign companies don't just disappear into the void. They redirect their energy toward building markets everywhere except the United States. Right now, companies across the globe are working overtime to establish new distribution networks and advertising campaigns that deliberately exclude America.
The United States is the last place they'd move production as these tariffs get imposed, deposed, postponed, raised, lowered, and no end in sight. Mr. Trump seems to enjoy doing that.
They're telling their customers worldwide, want to strike a blow against America's economic warfare, buy our products instead of American ones. Every tariff becomes free advertising for our competitors, and we're paying for it with higher domestic prices. Every political leader worldwide now has the perfect excuse to blame their domestic problems on American economic aggression. Having trouble with unemployment? It's because American tariffs hurt our exports, infrastructure falling apart. America is forcing us to divert resources to find new trading partners.
All companies that are importing will respond to Mr. Trump's tariffs by jacking up the price to the rest of us.
We've handed every government on earth a golden opportunity to deflect blame for their own failures while positioning themselves as victims of American bullying. The result, a coordinated global effort to build economic systems that exclude the United States. Before we continue, I need to share something with you. The mainstream media won't cover this tariff analysis because it exposes how badly American consumers are getting screwed. If this kind of unvarnished economic truth-telling is opening your eyes to what's really happening, that subscribe button helps us reach more people who need to understand the real cost of trade wars. We're not asking you to agree with everything, just to think critically about who actually pays when politicians play economics with your wallet.
Some will do more of it, some will do less of it. Whatever they don't shift to us, will hurt their bottom line.
Countries don't just sit there and absorb American tariffs like punching bags. They fight back with their own tariffs on American exports. Our farmers lose access to foreign markets. Our manufacturers face barriers to selling overseas. American workers in export industries get laid off while import companies pass tariff costs to consumers. It's economic warfare where both sides lose, but guess who loses more? The country that started the fight and depends on global trade relationships to maintain its standard of living. That's us.
So yeah, we're gonna get screwed by the tariffs in the form of the higher prices. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying.
Every promise about bringing manufacturing jobs back through tariffs is built on a fundamental misunderstanding of how modern production works. Manufacturing didn't leave America just because of cheap foreign labor. It left because entire supply chains, technological infrastructure, and worker skill bases developed elsewhere over decades. You can't recreate that overnight with tariffs. What you can do is make everything more expensive for American consumers, while foreign competitors build stronger relationships with everyone except us.
He now puts tariffs on countries because he doesn't like who they are or not prosecuting in their courts.
What you're witnessing isn't strength or strategic thinking. It's the panicked reaction of an empire that can't accept its declining status in the world. Instead of adapting to become one nation among many, we're lashing out like a wounded animal, attacking allies and enemies alike with economic weapons that hurt us as much as our targets. The tariff strategy is isolating America from the global economy at exactly the moment when we need international cooperation most. Every empire that's tried this approach has ended up weakened, isolated, and eventually collapsed.
What else is Mr. Trump doing? He's firing large numbers of federal workers. There's no reason to do that. The efficiency argument is nonsense.
While tariffs make life more expensive for ordinary Americans, they create massive profit opportunities for those connected enough to game the system. Import companies that can navigate the chaos, domestic producers who face less competition, financial speculators who bet on commodity prices, they're all getting rich off the economic disruption. Meanwhile, working families pay higher prices for everything they need while their wages stagnate. It's wealth extraction disguised as economic patriotism, and it's happening in real time.
While the empire as a whole is going down, then the burden of the decline falls on the middle and lower classes who are not in a position to protect their wealth.
The global economy evolved over decades into an interconnected system where products are designed in one country, assembled in another, using components from a dozen others. Tariffs don't change that reality. They just make it more expensive and chaotic. Countries and companies are already building new supply chains and trade relationships that rode around American restrictions. We're not reshaping global trade to our advantage. We're encouraging the world to trade without us.
But there is, of course, damage that is done to the foreigner from whom we import because of Mr. Trump's tariffs will be working much harder than they used to replace the lost sales in the United States by increasing their sales everywhere else.
Understanding tariff reality isn't about political partisanship. It's about economic survival. These policies are specifically designed to transfer costs downward to consumers, while benefits flow upward to those positioned to profit from chaos.
They want to get rid of working class people, stop paying them so they can keep the tax cuts for the rich.
The tariffs will make your daily purchases more expensive. The international isolation will limit economic opportunities as other countries build trading relationships that exclude America. The wealth extraction will continue while being disguised as patriotic policy. Richard Wolff's analysis reveals how tariffs fit into the broader pattern of imperial decline. The managed transfer of cost to ordinary citizens, while elites position themselves to profit from economic disruption. The question isn't whether this economic strategy will succeed, it's whether you'll recognize the con before it's too late.
Mr. Trump wants to take away collective bargaining rights for federal employees. That's the beginning of an assault on the labor movement so that they can't fight for higher wages and will have to accept lower wages.
The inflation is inevitable, so it's best to always check from where your product is made before buying. It would save you from unnecessary tariffs. Subscribe for more economic reality checks that cut through the political spin.